Hello and welcome to a new show here on Politics Social. It's called the Rabbit Hole. It's called the Rabbit Hole. That's what we decided to call it. Well, I kind of decided to call it, and Rachel just went, "Yeah, all right, Graham." Anyway, I'm joined by Rachel Harris. How you doing, Rachel? You all right?
I'm good. Yeah, good. Wednesday night, halfway through, hump night.
Hump night. Yeah, I was going to call it Hump Night or Hump Day or something, but that didn't. That sounded so good. So
No, I like it.
A big shout out to our friends in the chat there. We've got Saz in the chat. We've got Diz. We've got Alrone. We've got Tripod 9000. We've got Simon M. And if I can be very, very clever, what I can do, because I realised that I haven't actually moved the subscribe button over to our new channel. Just 1 second. Just bear with me. Hey, and then hopefully, yes, hit the subscribe button and you can join our friends in the chat. So we're going to talk about whatever tonight, but first of all, right, I want to just talk about Pokemon Go.
Okay. Well, this is going to be a very short conversation.
Why is it going to be a short conversation?
You millennials in your newfangled games,
Well, I was there. I was there at the beginning. I had Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue on the Game Boy back in the day.
Aren't they? I mean, I know nothing. It's like they're the badly shaped Japanese characters, right? That you Pokemon, and it's those things.
Yeah.
And
No,
yeah, the cards. It's cool.
The cards and the video games. Yeah, the
Right. Okay.
multi-billion-dollar
Got it.
enterprise empire.
Right. Pass me by. Phew.
1,008 different species of Pokemon, and then a lot of them are divided into different types that you can get,
Wow.
different colours, shinies and variations and things. So there's probably about 1,500 of them to catch all together. Not that I don't think anyone ever has. But
Right.
Pokemon Go, the game, launched in July 2016. It was a really good thing that came of that year, really.
Yeah.
It was a really shit year. If you remember how shit 2016 was, it was really shit.
Mhm.
And a bunch of us started playing, and a bunch of us have been playing ever since. But today, it's been sold to a
Oh.
Saudi Arabian company.
Oh no.
And they can get to fuck, can't they? The irony being, Rachel,
Mm.
you used to get locked up for playing Pokemon Go in Saudi Arabia because it was illegal. In fact, Pokemon Go was illegal in Saudi Arabia before Pokemon Go existed because Pokemon were illegal in Saudi, the trading cards or the Game Boy games, because it was seen as idolatry or something by the religious police.
Right. All right.
But as of today, as of March the 12th, it's now legal in Saudi Arabia. They spent $3.5 billion buying it from Niantic, the original owner of it. And yeah, I'm not playing it anymore. And I'm
running
sad.
out of thing. It is sad. I mean, it's like somebody's propping up the Tesla stock. It's been going down and flatline today. So it feels like some money's been injected from probably Saudi Arabia as well, I'm guessing.
Well, Trump did his little used car salesman thing, didn't he? Stands previously owned vessels from Monkey Island.
Computer.
It's computer. It's all computer.
All computer.
Did you see the Beavis and Butthead? That's some Happy Toast, the illustrator who did Beavis and Butthead in a Tesla. And it was like, it's all computer. Yeah.
It's computer.
And Vortex Lisa was saying it's 1,025 Pokemon now, not counting different forms, etc., or shinies. Yeah.
What's the thing when you see people running around parks with their phones in the air doing
That's Pokemon Go. That's it.
That's Pokemon Go. That's that.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
So it's not the whole of Pokemon that's still owned by the Pokemon Company, which is Japanese. No, this is just Pokemon Go has been sold to the Saudis. So it's a game about, getting out your house and meeting people. But if you try playing it in Saudi Arabia and you meet someone who happens to be of the opposite sex, they'll arrest you and possibly put you to death.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I'm running out of things to ban. Amazon. I can't watch Disney. I don't watch Netflix.
Yeah.
I'm running out of things.
That's why we can't have nice things.
You can't have nice things.
I'm absolutely gutted. Rachel, you got to understand. There's only 885 different species of Pokemon available in Pokemon Go, and I had all but two. And one of them you're going to get in Mexico, but that's going to be coming out here next month, so I could have got it next month. Yeah. And the other one, you could only buy it, so I didn't buy it a few years ago when it came out. But I'm gutted. I'm beyond gutted. I had all like the variations, all the different forms, all the different.
I know it is. It is when something you like, some billionaire comes along and buys it.
There's a poker stop on Ginger Island. I put where you can collect gifts and
Yeah.
things, and Pokemon appear as you're playing it, and you walk around maps. And it got me out the house. During COVID, it was great because it gave me an excuse. I don't have a dog.
Yeah.
Get me an excuse to go out, collect some Pokemon.
Yeah.
But now, yeah, and I feel the same way as you. Like you just go, I can't really give money to these
Yep.
fuckers anymore.
I
Not
mean,
that I
it's
spent
all
a
you
lot
have.
of money on it, but
Well, it's like David and Goliath. It's all you have. I mean, I left Netflix after the Ricky Gervais and Dave Chappelle.
yeah.
Disney, I left because they had a transgender character in their latest film, and then they took it out and put a Christian character in. So
What's this
that was
in?
bye bye. The film that just released, I can't remember which one it was.
Disney did this.
No, yeah, it's on the Disney Plus channel. Their new film that they just launched. They had a trans character in it, and they took it out. And they put a Christian character in. So I cancelled my Disney just as they're releasing the second series of Thingy, which I was like, oh God, no. It's like starts in a week. You can great with names I am. The 2 seasons, the guy that's in Rogue One.
Yeah.
So second season's just about to start. So it's like, I've just cancelled Disney. And there's like, second season's just about to start. Oh, but I have to stand by it.
Well,
buy it somewhere else.
You might know someone who can possibly get that kind of thing for you. Like I could turn up with like a long coat on and sort of open my coat up like this and go, "Would you like to buy some episodes of Andor?" And you'll be like, "Ooh, okay, yeah." And I'll pull them out my jacket and put them into your
obviously.
computer.
Exactly. And obviously I don't buy Tesla. Toyota I don't buy. They got rid of their DEI. Ford's got rid of their DEI. Harley Davidson, don't buy it. I don't ride a Harley Davidson. But it is things that are in my life that you think, I can't buy that now. Try to not use Amazon anymore, but it takes a bit longer. But we didn't use it before. So I'm trying to, it's all I've got. It's my little fights. I can't, it won't affect them. They won't notice, but if a few of us do it, as Anonymous says.
I'm just like it's Kat. When I told Kat, she came over and gave me a hug, and I was like, "It's all right, it's fine. You move on, don't you? Close a chapter of your life." But she said, "But it's your favorite thing," and I'm like, "Well,
I know.
I had to get a new favorite thing. Maybe a new favorite thing would be write me fucking books that I need to write before I die." There you go, Rachel.
Well, meant to be writing some book. You're meant to be writing like the other 2 books of your trip, right?
I am, which still haven't fucking written. Well, the problem with that is I need 6 months to write them, and if someone wants to pay me just to live for 6 months. I mean, it wouldn't be very expensive. It'd be a few grand. I'm not an expensive person, but I just need to keep on top of my debts. That's it. I need to earn at least 2 grand in a given month just to keep head above water.
I thought George Soros was funding us all. Aren't you getting your George Soros monthly check?
No, I must be stuck in the post.
Oh, okay. That's funny. I mean, mine comes through all right.
But yeah, so it's one of those things. I'd love to write the book, but you can only. Yeah. It's like being an actor or being a singer these days. You can only really do it if you're already rich. You can only really write books if you're already rich.
You got to be a nepo baby now.
Nepo babies, we make our dreams come true.
But the BBC want working class people now. I think we should have some working class people.
Cloth. I'm very working class. You can tell the working class when you put an R in the word class.
Yeah.
Very working class. But yeah, 8% of film and TV in the UK are working class.
Right. And is that with working class people, or are they just rich people pretending to be working class?
No, they're working class people. People who went to state school, went to a comp, and
needs to be better.
8%. It's just pathetic.
Yeah. Can I tell you how many trans people are at?
Yeah. Well, exactly. But representation's bad, because if I see a trans person on the TV, Rachel, I'll lose my mind. I might turn trans myself.
You will, with our special trans ray.
I once saw like a 10-second clip of Julian Clary, right?
Yeah.
10 seconds later, I was down a local gay bar. I was gobbling off a stranger. Yeah. You just do, don't you?
Yeah. Thank you for giving me the clap I so rightly deserve.
I love Julian Clary. But yeah, it is mad, isn't it? Like this idea that if we platform people who are different, people are gonna go, "Oh, I want to do that too." Like it's a fad. And that's the way a lot of the homophobes, a lot of the transphobes see it. They just go, "Oh, it's a fad. It's a fad." Go on. I was going.
No, that's fine. Go on.
I was just going to jump into the chat a little bit and just say hello to Diz and Saz. Saz says, nice to see Rachel. It's nice to see you, Saz. Vortex, I've seen it's been sold and the new owners are terrible. Yeah, they're the people who did Monopoly Go, which is apparently really bad. And Anne Phillips says, many a good game has been ruined after being bought out by a big distributor. I don't suppose the Saudis can be much worse. Well, it's not really about the game going down in quality for me, although it probably will. They'll probably want money for all the new pokies that come online. It's about who owns it. Like I can't stomach the idea. I mean, it's bad enough it was owned by an American company. Now it's owned by a company that literally probably, they arrested people for playing Pokemon. They probably would have been tortured. Like, and now they're like, oh no, it's all right now because we own it. It's fine. Mohammed's changed his mind. Allah has changed his infinite mind on this particular video game. It used to be bad. It used to be so bad you'd have to be arrested if you played it. But now it's okay. Allah told me. And you're like, oh, it's almost as though they make this up as they go along, Rachel.
Well, everybody makes it. I mean, the way politics is now, isn't it? Everybody. It's either the trend on Twitter or it's what can get me the most power or what can get me the most money. It's not governments and politicians don't serve their people anymore. It's an enrichment process now. And then they get knighted at the end of it because they've been doing public service, it's public service. So they get knighted and go in the House of Lords for their public service of making money and working with lobbyists. I mean, where were the people that, it's changed.
Anne Phillips, I've read that one. No, Frederick K. Saudi are hosting the World Cup as well, and no alcohol will be allowed yet. It's a World Cup in 2034. This is the maddest thing you've ever heard of. So it's even madder than Qatar.
It doesn't sound funny at all, does it?
6,000 people died building the stadiums in the desert for that Qatar World Cup. There was about 6,000 minutes of games played. So for every 1 minute that was the footy was on the telly, a human being died building those fucking stadiums for slave wages in the desert in 40-degree heat.
Yeah,
and they're going to do the same thing in Saudi Arabia. I mean, it's like a furnace. It's like a furnace out there, and they get people from Southeast Asia South Asia who they treat like shit. By the way, like. I spent time in Kuwait and Bahrain and Qatar and Saudi, and I spent a month in UAE, and I saw how people were treated from Kerala or from Bangladesh. Honestly, it would make a 1970s fat northern comedian blush. It really would. They'd be like, "Oh, that's a bit much."
Yeah,
and
I saw some documentaries about the Qatar one being built, but where they were living and what they were being fed and how much money they were getting, and it was not good.
No.
It was.
Well, I might have a lot more time on my hands now. I can work
you're not watching the football.
No, not what. Well, I've not been that engaged with football since Qatar got given the World Cup, which it was announced back in 2011 because they needed a lot of time to build those stadiums in the desert. Which are now white elephants. They said they were going to dismantle them and put them elsewhere. But these countries have got too much money.
What do you think about the COP conference? They're building all this road, chopping all the woods, all the trees down.
I was going to mention that on the show this morning. I forgot.
Yeah.
So if you don't know, the COP conference, COP 30, is going to be held in a place called Belém, which is in the middle of the Amazon rainforest in a state called Para in Brazil, and they're building a road to allow the 50,000 people who are turning up, mostly oil execs.
Yeah, because the lobbyists outnumber the campaigners.
Absolutely. They outnumber it. I mean, it's just turned into a big OPEC summit of how we can destroy the world quicker. It's completely pointless, and I see why so many countries are just abandoning it now. But that whole thing was fucked by the Saudis, because in the 90s, when they had their first COP, they decided that things wouldn't be decided by majority vote or even a supermajority vote. No, they'll be decided by consensus. So every single country in the world has to agree to the terms for the statement at the end of COP and what they're going to do. And if every single country doesn't agree, nothing gets done. Yeah. And they did that on purpose because they knew from years of experience of being in the United Nations, getting every country in the world to agree on something
Yeah.
is as close to impossible as anything's ever going to get. Like even Tom Cruise couldn't crack that
Yeah.
shit. Do you know what I mean? Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is
Dun, 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 dun,
get
dun,
all
dun.
the countries in the world to vote for something. Dun, 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 dun. Little scribble goes past. Who drinks
Yeah.
Carlin Black Label? Them were the days.
But so we're guessing like Russia wouldn't be big on it, but now as America's going to vote against everything now they're going to cop. Now they're all anti everything. Yeah.
Yes.
Like, did you see the one that was just like there was another? I know there was the one where they voted about Ukraine, but they had another vote about is being nice to each other, a really nice thing kind of vote in the United Nations, and everybody voted for that one, and America was the only one on the board that went, no, I don't think being nice to everybody is a great thing. But I don't remember what the question was, but it was something fluffy,
Yeah.
which didn't mean anything, and every country voted, yeah, why not? But America was like, nope.
Nope.
Jesus, that's
Well,
how bad.
America's voting with North Korea now, so all bets are off. And I'm glad to see that Canada's taking it seriously.
Yeah.
That Canada are like, no, fuck off.
Yeah.
Speaking as one, they're not trying to like dance around the issue or try and chummy up to it. They're like, get your horrible, dirty little tiny little finger claws out of our country.
So, well, I spent a lot of time in Toronto, and it's like Doug Ford's brother was the mayor, the one that was he's dead now.
Crack cocaine guy.
Yeah, he
filmed
was
himself doing crack cocaine with some gangsters. That literally happened.
But he's the sort of like the governor of Ontario. He's no sweetie. He's quite right on the right.
Boy. Yeah.
But he's like, oh, fuck Trump, and he's coming out. It's like, well, if you've lost Doug Ford,
he's the most Trumpy in a way. So I guess they don't cancel each other out, but he responds in a Trumpian way to Trump.
Yeah.
Whereas everyone else is trying to find some like middle ground, and he's like, sorry, I will turn your electricity off, and I will smile when I do so.
Yeah, I mean, and that's good. I mean, because old PP. He's horrible. I mean, you saw the bit when they were clapping when what's his name visited. God, I'm having a real bloody senior evening. When Ukraine
Zelensky,
Vladimir Zelensky. God, gee, I'm on. It's because I'm taking some sleeping drafts at the moment because I don't sleeping very well, and they make your brain like goldfish brain. Hello. Yeah. So Zelensky visited Canada, and he walked into the Parliament building, and everybody clapped. I mean, everybody stood up and clapped him. But PP was like,
yeah.
He was like, oh, he didn't look happy. I thought, yeah, because you've just been faraged, mate.
Yeah. Well, it's quite entertaining watching the Refuck Party tear itself apart.
It's been popcorn moment, hasn't it?
Oh God, popcorn moment after popcorn moment. It's and I love the way that the spat is literally happening in real time. On the internet. And this Rupert Lowe character is just saying, "I'm going to sue you. He's threatened to sue our friend Femi. He's threatened to sue a bunch of other people who have said things about him. Nearly all of whom have been black, by the way, or not white. Funny that. Almost as though he's a massive racist. But yeah, he's threatening to sue Nigel Farage. He's going to threaten sue Tice, and he's going to sue the Reform Party.
Yeah. But it's interesting because the lawyer that came out, they wouldn't name the lawyer. I saw that Jolyn Monahan was saying, why don't we know who this lawyer is? And I think it was Katie Montgomery or somebody said, I tell you, if that lawyer had been trans, it would have been in every paper on the front page. Yeah. Because they always out us.
Yeah.
They out us instantly. And then dead name us and misgender us for the whole, whatever the thing is. And it was quite funny that it was just a week if that lawyer had been trans, they'd have been on the front page of the Times the next day. Yeah. So it didn't seem. Jolene was going, why are they not naming the lawyer that's having? That just seems a bit weird. But anyway,
we got some more people in the chat coming online, which is nice. Sarah Davis in the chat. It was nice to see Sarah. We've got Alistair as well. Hey, Alistair. And we've also got Chris C in there. Does Trump really want to find out why the Geneva Convention was created? Because of the Canadians? Probably. Alvone says, a great channel to watch on YouTube is Politics Social. Oh, no, that's not what you've written. You've written, I've had it. They lay into Trump.
Oh, they're great. Yeah, I had it.
Oh, I'm going to write that down. I've had it.
Those two women are hilarious. They live in a red state, and they are very LGBT friendly.
Oh,
They
good.
are and they talk about they do a good podcast, which is a lot of subjects, but they do a lot little political podcasts, and the other on together, or they'll do a piece to camera, 15 minutes each, and it's really having a go at the evangelicals and Trump, and it's good. It's a good old, good old rant.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
brilliant.
yeah.
Maggie's popping in to say hi while the Lancashire hot pot quietly cooks.
Oh, nice.
Now,
Yeah.
I've got to talk to you about Severance because it's just like the best thing I've seen on TV for ages, apart from Cobra Kai, obviously, because that was just amazing. But I mean, just it's really, really good. It's just very different from everything else on TV at the moment.
Right. Go ahead.
It's a little bit Lost, a little bit Twin Peaks.
Mm.
And it's interesting. And people, I love the theories. This is what I'm liking about watching it. Because I think one of the things that I think streaming fucked up, along with cinema in general, was the fact that they would drop an entire season all at once. So you'll end up like binge watching it, which is fine in COVID or
Nice.
whatever. But I kind of like the thing of episodes coming out week by week. And then
Okay.
everyone getting on the internet with their theories and people making videos about their theories. And I like it's like with Lost, and
Yeah.
Game of Thrones to some extent. Like I like the fact there's a lot more to it than just the show. You don't just watch the show. You've got all this stuff going on in the periphery. People making videos and writing articles. With Game of Thrones, it was slightly different because people have read the book, so they knew where it was going. But maybe Breaking Bad, because that wasn't based on a book. People didn't know where it was going, and so there were all these different theories about what this means and that means. And people were like re-watching episodes and telling you what the color code is. This character always wears purple, and this means this. And I love it. I love all the. So we've only got a couple of episodes, I think, of Severance left of this season. But well worth checking out. It's on Apple TV. Is Apple TV on your naughty list yet?
It isn't, because I want to watch The First of Us or whatever it is, and the one about Mars, and I've been wanting to get on there. And there's a Tom Hanks film where he's a sort of there's a film only for Apple TV when he's a sort of merchant navy captain during the war, which I want to watch because I like Tom Hanks. And there's a few other sci-fis I want to pick up. The Last of Us is on there and stuff. So now I've dropped Disney. I could afford to go, but because I'm a little bit on the spectrum, I find it a bit overwhelming that suddenly I have a catalogue of a million things I need to watch. And it's like,
they're giving it away for free. Like we've got a 3-month trial, and we're probably gonna end it after that because we want to watch Silo with
I want to watch
Rebecca Ferguson.
one of them.
She's my favorite, and she's a mechanic in it. She's got a big spanner. I love a woman with a big spanner.
Oh, anyway, you should watch Firefly.
I did. Firefly was fantastic as well.
Well, the mechanic in that was,
Ooh. And also it had Marina Baccarin in as well.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so let's stop objectifying. Okay. Stop objectifying people.
I'm not. But as a young, when I watched Morgan, she was in Homeland. She played. She was in Firefly. She was also in Stargate,
and she's also the girlfriend of Deadpool.
Right, and she was in V, the remake.
Yes.
So she's been around, always in the sci-fi. And
I was very disappointed with the V remake.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. I did buy it actually because I bought all the original Vs. I've got all the original Vs on DVD.
So
and I've got
the first episode of V, the original miniseries, right?
Yeah.
Freddy Krueger is in it. Okay, Freddy Krueger and Robert Englund, and
he's on our side.
He's on our side. He's a goodie in it. And what they do at the end of the first episode of the miniseries that launched it back in the 80s is they send out a transmission for help, right, into the cosmos. And I don't think they ever follow up that storyline. And when I heard that V was coming back, I thought, brilliant. It's going to be that these aliens have got their distress signal. And so by then, it's 30 years later, the aliens are completely taken over the Earth. Everyone's a slave to the aliens. And then these new aliens turn up and they don't know whether to trust them, whether they're on their side, whether they like the lizard aliens or they want to they want to help us or they want to just, they've got their own agenda. Who knows? And I thought that's a really interesting story to play out. Like, imagine 2 alien races having a civil war on our planet and we're Piggy in the middle.
There's a sci-fi series exactly like that. Falling Skies.
Oh, okay.
You not seen Falling Skies?
I've never even heard of Falling
Okay,
Skies.
so Noah Wiley, who was the doctor in ER a long time ago
Yes, I
in the
remember
90s.
Noah.
No, it's all right. It's about aliens have invaded the Earth. We lost. Um, it's about he heads a back. He's an ex-professor, and he's got a squad of people. They travel around in buses. They're fighting the aliens when they can. Guerrilla warfare. They've got heavy metal bikers. It's lots of great
Mm.
characters you'd recognize. You'd recognize loads of the actors in it. And then another alien race rock up and go, these guys that have taken your planet took our planet and we fucking hate them and we're going to join you and we're going to fight them together. And that happens in like later and several seasons later. And
Okay.
it's just the best.
When
It's
did this come out? When was this?
I'd say early 2000s.
Okay, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, Falling Skies, dark, but brilliant. Oh my God, you're going to go, Rachel. That's it. I love
Do
you
you
forever
remember
and ever.
what was
Best sci-fi.
I've forgotten the name of the character that Noah Wiley played in because it wasn't
ER.
Doctor Green. That was Goose, wasn't it?
Goose, I love you,
Love
Goose.
you,
Take
Goose.
it back to the back, Goose.
There was one of the episodes I think in the first season with Noah Wiley, and
Yeah,
it was about like 24 hours in his day, and he was sleeping
yeah,
in the cupboard, and it's one of the best episodes of TV, along
yeah.
with 33, that episode of Battlestar Galactica where they keep on having to
Oh yeah. Every
skip
33
every
minutes. They jump.
33 minutes the baddies turn up and they have to keep going
Yeah.
into
But there's a
so good.
Voyager episode. There's the Voyager episode where the time traveling ship keeps pounding Voyager, and
Yeah.
they're all sleeping on camp beds, and all the systems are failing, and they're fighting this guy. He's trying to eradicate them from the timeline,
Oh
and
wow.
the Voyager gets the shit kicked out of it, and half the
Vision.
cast are dead. It's really good.
um, so we got Maggie's making Lancashire hot pot. I like the Lancashire hot pots. They're a very
Yeah.
funny band. My mate is in it. He used to be in Lions and Tigers in Liverpool. If you ever were hanging around in Liverpool in the noughties, you might have heard of Lions and Tigers. I did a few music videos for them, and now he's in the Lancashire Hot Pots. We've got Billy Kershaw. Anything about topless women in France, anti-fash. I saw that, Billy. So there was a women's protest against fascism, and
Right.
they painted American flags with a swastika on it, right, on them. And I can
Right.
see why they'd done that to make the point about, but having a swastika painted on you,
Doesn't feel good.
no, it's a bit ick. It was a bit like, oh, don't put that symbol on you.
When they're doing a Sir Ed Davy, then they did this to get on the press.
Yeah, I think so. No, but this is it's a tradition thing, isn't it? It's not a tradition, but in France, a bare-breasted protest has been a thing
Right.
that's been around since like the Russian
Yeah.
French Revolution, not the Russian Revolution. It's too fucking cold. Plunker. Hello, Graham and Rachel. Hello, Plunker. Wishing you both the best. I have a theory that Pokemon Go is being sold off due to Nintendo Switch 2 bringing out a new Pokemon game that works similar yet better. What could be? Yeah, but will I be able to transfer my 883 different types of Pokemon over? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
So frustrating. Anyway, Nintendo Direct will tell us more, maybe. Svak says, Graham, if you like a woman with a spanner, what's your opinion on Gadget Hack Wrench? Who's Gadget Hack Wrench? I don't know. Sorry. Sorry, I don't know what that means.
John Carter was the name of Noah Wiley's character in ER. Just looked it up.
John Carter of Mars.
No, John Carter was his character.
Of Mars.
No, Noah Wiley.
I know.
Oh, John Carter, the Mars thing.
Yeah, there was a movie called John Carter of Mars. It was a massive flop for Disney.
There was.
It was a big floppy one for Disney.
Okay. It
Disney
wasn't
turned up with a big floppy one.
Yeah, it was a one-off film that was meant to be a whole
No good to
chain.
anyone.
They only did one of those films. There meant to be a few, weren't there?
Yeah. I'm saying I mistimed both my dinner and the cats. Had to miss about 10 minutes of the discussion. I got samosas and spring rolls bought in the shop. So cheating, really? No, it's not cheating at all. You cooked it. It's yours. It's all yours.
Yeah, I've got to cook tonight, which is about as rare as a comet hitting the Earth.
Yeah.
My partner's away tonight, and they bought me pasta that you boil for 3 minutes and a like a tomato thing you put in the microwave for 2 minutes. And I've got instructions that says once you boiled it, you pour and then you eat it. So that's it. That's me tonight. My partner loves cooking, and I can cook, but not very well. And So tonight after this, I've got to go back into my little kitchen and cook my own food. Oh,
Oh
just
no.
nightmare.
Mm. You know
Do
what
you know,
we're
I
gonna
mean,
have to
all
do?
the way through when I was at college, when I was at wherever I was in the world, when I worked in defense, wherever I've been in the world, I've always managed to find someone to cook for me.
Yeah. Well,
Just,
talking of food, you know of RFK Jr. in America, he's trying to set things up in America so it's a bit like, during the Middle Ages where
yeah,
you probably didn't survive till you were 5, but if you
yeah,
did, you were
yeah.
sorted. Like
I've invested in leeches.
the reason why the average life expectancy back in the day was 40 wasn't because everyone lived till 40. It's just that half the people died before they were 5.
Yeah,
So people live till 60, 70, 80 years old. A lot of famous people
yeah.
that you hear of in history, they lived till a ripe old age because they didn't get ill.
No,
They were lucky,
they
I
weren't
guess.
getting clipping their thumbs on rusty nails and getting
Yes.
tetanus.
Well, RFK Jr. is actually doing a good thing for just, it's like a stop clock is right twice a day.
Yeah,
Because America has had a thing with the FDA, the Food and Drugs Administration, right? For many years, since the end of the 90s. Well, actually, this thing came in the 50s, but like the end of the 90s, where they would allow any new ingredients that were invented and put into food was grass. It was or something like that. Generally regarded as safe. GRAS,
yeah,
something like that, or grad or something like that. And it used to be back in the 50s, it was stuff like salt and garlic and naturally, just a few handful of ingredients that didn't need to be tested. And then in 1998, they changed the rules because they like money, and they were allowed to put anything they like basically into the food that they make. And it was only
yeah,
when someone died that they'd have to go, well, we better take that out then. And so
yeah,
you'd have exactly the same company owning making Mars bars or whatever it was, making a product, and they'd have like a European version and an American version. The American version
mm,
had all kinds of chemicals in
yeah,
that were not permitted in Europe, because in Europe, generally, you've got to prove something is safe before you can put it on sale. It's one of the reasons why GM foods have had such difficulty getting a toehold in Europe, because
mm,
they have to prove it's safe, and
yeah,
over long-term exposure, who knows? We're talking about stuff that might cause cancer 40 years down the line,
mm.
asbestos, etc. I'm not saying you eat asbestos. I'm just saying, like, there are
Well, it was the
babies,
70s we did. It was a tough time.
the babies who had talcum powder, and there was asbestos in the talc,
Yeah,
and they're all grown up now and getting cancer from that.
yeah.
So yeah,
But
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is getting rid of this system, and he's going to go back to how it used to be, where you have to prove that the thing is safe before you put it on the market.
okay. Interesting though. He wants to ban the 10 oils. He's booking so he only wants, so this horrible chain, I can't remember the name of the food chain. It's not one I've heard of. Um, they and Kennedy went along with, oh, I don't know, Tucker Carlson or someone, and they did a launch, and everything's cooked in beef fat. Everything's beef fat. It's all beef fat because they think the 10 oil, sunflower oil, grapeseed oil, all that stuff is bad for you. They've got the
Oh,
10 oil. It's called the 10 something or others,
right.
and so all the stuff that you and I like. Olive oil's all right, weirdly, but
What about palm oil? I bet that's all right,
yeah, all
because
those, all
that
the,
means that you get to chop down trees, doesn't it?
but all the oils you cook with, everybody cooks with because it's not, that he's banning all those and a lot of the, and then well, I think one of the reporters said to one of the guys from the company, well, what about your potatoes? Because most potatoes that are supplied to companies like yours are soaked in some oil, right? And they went, oh, we don't know about the food chain. It's just what we do with it. It's like, well,
Yeah.
then it's in the oils that you're trying to ban. Half the stuff is preserved in the oils that you're. Anyway, the guy went, oh, you have to talk to our marketing department. And it all went kind of tits up after that. But it was, yeah, gonna cook it in meat, oil in oil in oil. That's what we like. And it was like, oh, for God's sake, it's just, they are killing every American one by one, really. It feels like,
Yeah. Yeah.
cardiac arrests are going to go up. And, it's just, it's just so funny because the birth rate is falling, and obviously they want white people to have white babies in America,
Well,
and
yes.
but they don't mind killing lots of people off, which means they need more babies.
Yes. It seems a bit
Yeah,
counterproductive to me, but there you
that's what
go.
I mean to me. I mean, I'm going down this rabbit hole with this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's take all the measles are now across about 4 or 5 states. That's
Yep.
going to start knocking people
Child
off.
died the other day.
Yeah,
Small child.
and
Part
so
of a religious sect.
they want to go all Handmaid's Tale and make women have babies and take all their rights away, but white women having white babies, of course, but
Yes.
they don't seem to want to keep anybody alive for this
Well,
big new capitalist tech bro universe living under
well,
domes
no,
that they want in the future.
they just want enough humans to do the shit that they want them to do, and
Well,
then everyone else
yeah.
can go to hell. We've
Well,
got
that's
some.
sorry, go on.
I was just going to say we've got some cool little chats coming in. Simon says sorry to drag the chat down. No nonsense, Simon, nonsense.
Oh,
But
sorry.
loving the Hegsmeg totally revising U.S. military history. So there's no Tuskegee Airmen. There's no Women's Air Force.
There's the
Service
Enola
pilots.
Strait aircraft. They
So
not,
this is the joke, right? So the
Enola
plane the plane that dropped the bomb on Hiroshima was called the Enola Gay. OMD wrote a song about it. The bomb was called Little Boy, and the plane was called Enola Gay, which was named after the pilot's mother, right? So Enola Gay was a middle name. And along with 80,000 other things that have the word woman, gay.
There's 80,000 gaylords
trans.
in America. So that's their name in any document on a website.
They got rid of the picture from the archive of the Enola Gay aircraft. Because a child might see that and go, oh, I think I'm going to be gay now.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out and get me some cock.
You say we're gay 3 times, you start hitting the clubs, dancing.
Yeah. Because I grew up being told that Marilyn Monroe was gorgeous and she was the most beautiful woman of all time, but I've never really been into blondes, so I didn't feel that way. But then one day someone said to me, no, Graham, you have to fancy this person that you don't fancy. And I was like, oh, okay, then now you've said that I have to, I guess I'll just have to fancy them. Yeah, even though I don't find them attractive in that way. I can see why other people might find her attractive, but doesn't do it for me, I'm afraid. Sorry, Norma Jean. We've got Chris, a response to Chris C in here, Dog 4x4. I don't know about that. Migrating over to Universal Credit at the moment, there's been a minor technical error on their side. It never stays minor for long. It's very true. I'm sorry to hear that, mate. It's a fucking ball ache. Anne Phillips, I read nearly all of Edgar Rice Burroughs' books many years ago. My mother collected them. He did a Venus series as well. And we've got Chris saying, hopefully they get it sorted without causing you too much stress and inconvenience. I mean, I think Labour are causing us a lot of stress and inconvenience unnecessarily at the moment.
They're dead to me. I don't know.
I keep going on about this. Like, it's just calm people's nerves. I was doing PMQs today, Rachel, and
I watched it.
Oh, you watched it? Okay.
I watched it.
I was getting a bit wound up because I'm like, just give people a little bit of reassurance that it's going to be okay. Yeah. And he's like, oh, can't show them my cards. I'm like, it's not a fucking game. Anyway, Chris says, but gay also means happy. Well, my dad, who he's ill now, so he doesn't know what day it is. But went back when he was in his pomp, he really hated gay people. Like, he just had this big problem with people who were gay from that, that generation who always put gay people right next to pedophiles. They thought that they were interchangeable terms. And he'll get very upset, very vexed that you couldn't say things were gay anymore because it used to mean happy and now it just means homosexual. And then I remember watching Bringing Up Baby with Cary Grant and...
Hello, darling.
I want to say Katharine Hepburn, but it might not have been Katharine Hepburn. Was it Katharine Hepburn who was in Bringing Up Baby? Ooh. Oh, well, so I'm sure someone will let me know in the chat. But there is a scene where he opens the door to his future mother-in-law, whoever, and for whatever reason, it's a screwball comedy. He's wearing the female lead. I think it's Katharine Hepburn's. I'll just say it is Katharine Hepburn's nightgown, right? Because he's lost all his clothes for some reason. And she says, oh my God, what are you doing in this house? And why are you dressed like that? And at this point, he's exasperated because all the things that he was trying to do have gone horribly wrong. And he says, I don't know. Maybe I just went gay.
Oh, goodness.
And as he says gay, he goes like this. And you're like, so in the 1930s, gay totally meant homosexual.
Yeah.
But,
Well, they had Fred Flintstone had a gay old time, didn't he? So...
He did, with Barney.
Yeah, so there you go. It's what it I don't.
I always thought they were into wife swapping. Do you know what I mean? Like Betty and Wilma would.
Well, that's in the 70s comedy
nights. Yeah. That was. Have you ever watched any of those episodes back of the Flintstones?
Well, not recently, but I remember them. I watched them when I was a
Do
kid.
you remember the canned laughter?
Yeah,
They used to have canned laughter. Like, what was the like,
it was a different
just
time. The banana splits, the flashing blade, it all had sort
yeah,
of.
yeah, yeah. I can understand if it's being performed before a live studio audience, like Red
Yeah,
Dwarf or Friends or whatever.
yeah,
But
yeah. Well, it's yeah. Well, sometimes in America, though, remember a lot of the televisions we used to watch in the 70s late at night on a Friday and a Saturday, you know, like Benson or whatever it
yeah,
was we used to be on, and it would be kind of yellow because it would be the conversion from 60 megahertz to 50, and it would always be that kind of tinted
yeah,
yellow.
yeah,
And they would say it'd be say shown in front of a live audience. The audience was live, and they were showing the episode,
oh
but
right,
they weren't recording it in front of the it's like shown in front of a live audience. Oh, great. Get
yeah.
me tickets for that. Different time, you know.
um, yeah. So Alvone's saying quite rightly, people need reassurance for their mental health. There's too
You do.
much. There's so much to worry about with the world. Yeah, there absolutely
Yeah.
is. I couldn't agree more. And you
Yeah.
know, this is why I am genuinely upset about Pokemon. And I know it sounds like really trivial, but it was my way of just going out for a walk.
Yeah.
I wasn't listening to the fucking radio. I wasn't watching YouTube or TikTok or reading the BBC. I was just going
Mm.
out there and catching Pokemon, and you know,
I mean, I'm going to say something quite
hatching
contentious now. I
eggs.
mean, it is you know, in 2016 I was doing up a car, I was building a flight sim, I used to travel all the time, and a lot of trans people I know don't do a lot of the things they enjoy. I don't I'm selling the car I was doing up, I don't want to do it anymore. We're not traveling because our joy over the last 6 years, 7 years of transphobia coming at us, the
Yeah,
abuse online, they have taken our joy away. And although I try and find it, now the whole world is experiencing what trans people do all the time,
yeah,
right? All
yeah,
everybody else's joy. We're worried about getting blown up. We're worried about the economy. We're worried about our pension. We're worried about affording to pay stuff. We're worried about the government caring for our mental health. And that's where trans people have been living for 8 years. And now the
yeah,
whole fucking world is experiencing it. And it's like, well, you know, I don't want the world to experience what trans people go through, but people have been coming at us for 8 years
yeah,
and really full on with a load of bullshit. And you know, it's been hard to find joy. And I'm lucky I'm married to somebody that has a lot of joy still, gives it to me. Not here tonight, can you tell? But in a way, the whole world is experiencing shit. We could be,
yeah,
you know, you're trying to, you've got to put your kids to bed. You've still got to cook dinner, but you then, why are we going to blow up? Are we going to get invaded by Russia? Is America going psycho nuts? Is the economy, you know, and your brain has got to go micro down there and I need to put the baby to bed or I need to feed to out there to everything that's going on in the world. And brains aren't kind of programmed to go out there and go, oh shit, Trump,
yeah,
put the baby
yeah,
to bed. Oh God, Putin. Oh no, I need to cook my dinner. And we're
yeah.
not programmed to have that kind of. And with your phone
Information,
and your
just the
television
constant
and
information. You know,
yeah.
you only have like X many friends who you know what's going on in their lives, and then you know you
Well,
got these
I
extra
really admire
people
people that go, I don't do
gegging
politics.
in, gegging
We,
into
we
your life.
But there are a load of people who walk around oblivious, right? I mean, that is, you know, I've got friends that I've got a couple of friends we had lunch with a couple of weeks ago, and they were like, "What's going on?
Yeah,
What?" And it's like, well, Labour did this thing to trans people, and this, you know, the way they treat what they're doing with disability benefits, and all right, they're doing that, are they? Oh, I thought they were really good. I thought you liked Labour. Oh, I don't anymore. Oh, what? So what's Trump got in then? Did he? Yeah. So what's he been up to? You don't fucking know.
yeah,
It's like, well, how do you live in
yeah,
that world? I am envious
yeah.
of people that don't notice that stuff. They don't read the papers. They don't watch the news. I don't watch the news anymore. I've got friends who just I don't watch the news. It's all so negative. I'm like, oh, to be like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when the
That's a
flash.
privilege. That is a privilege to not have to pay attention to what's going on.
So when the
When you
flashes
have
go off
to,
on the horizon, you'll be
yeah,
holding your partner's hands, going, "Look at all the flashes on the. What do they mean?"
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like that would be that would like 5 seconds of realization for them. It's like
yeah.
we'll all know, but they won't. It's like, oh, you're so lucky. I wish I was like.
Alvone is saying about Pokemon, Graham, it's not trivial. You have to have things you enjoy in life. You
You do.
have to have some joy in this world, even the smallest thing, which
You
I
do,
think you're
yeah,
right. John C.
yeah,
wants to know Betty or Wilma, to which I have to say, uh, I'll go with Betty, but I'll be thinking of Wilma.
yeah. Red Dwarf.
Yes. I got that reference. But yeah, I know. I like thinking about Pokemon though. I mean, started playing it the day before it came out in the UK. I got a version of it
Mm.
downloaded. But that particular summer, the summer of 2016, I was working on my book, and what I'll do is I came home for a couple of months to finish it off here in the UK, and I would work at the library because I found that working at the library rather than working at home, it meant I got out. I didn't play video games or just looking for shit on the internet or whatever that I'll do at home. I would actually, because there were other people in the library, I couldn't fuck about, and I was actually getting stuff done. But the library didn't open till like 8 o'clock or something, and I'd be dropped off by my mum in town at like 7 because she was on the way to work, and I'd have like half an hour just walking around town with my Pokemon. Fucking great, and I'll sit down and do my work.
Yeah.
And then more recently, I'm in a Pokemon group here in Durham. I'm in one in Liverpool, and we meet up when there's a big weekend fest or something. And there's a new Pokemon out. We'll all meet up, and there's big gangs of us. So there was like 40 of us in Liverpool the other week, or the day after my birthday. There's like 40 of us meeting in town to go and play this game, and it was great. Just going out and meeting people, exploring your urban environment, and now that's been just taken away because Saudis want money. They like money. They used to hate Pokemon. Used to be against the law. Used to make Allah cry. Now it doesn't. Now it makes Allah happy. The guy who speaks to Allah knows this. Told us so.
Yeah.
Does it make any money?
I know. It's all billionaires want an extra space in their bunkers, you see. So they need more money.
Yes. The bunkers.
Read Stark.
The bunkers. Ernie Burns says it's frightening how fast so many people have become transphobic. People who are okay with it because it was exotic and foreign, now they fear it's coming after them somehow. Yeah, Ernie, you're right. And there was a line by J.K. Rowling. I'm sorry to talk about this because one of the reasons why this isn't the intersection is we didn't want to just go on about intersections.
Yeah, we don't want to go about trans stuff.
We wanted to talk about Star Trek.
Yeah, yay!
And Andor. But yeah, J.K. Rowling I think it was like 2020, she wrote this big letter about why she felt the way she did, and one of the things that she said was because she was assaulted by a cisgender man.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is awful. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. However, she wasn't attacked by a trans woman. She was attacked by a cisgender man. And the other one was that had she been exposed to trans ideology at a young age, she might have been trans. And I'm like, okay. I don't know what to say to that. I mean, maybe if when I was in school, if Section 28 wasn't a thing, I might be more gay. I might have a boyfriend now. You know, I'm pretty much easygoing. I like cats and dogs. I like Coke and Pepsi. I like Vegemite and Marmite. I'm just one of them. I like Star Trek and Star Wars. Is that the code? Is that what you say when you go to the gay bar? They go, are you gay or straight? And you say, I like Star Wars and Star Trek.
Yeah, exactly.
Wink.
And sometimes I go Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, but it's just like, I don't know. I just that attitude is just.
People don't have
horrible.
Well, 95% of the people don't have that attitude. It's just that you go back to a Washington think tank in 2016, 2015.
Yeah.
Same-sex marriage was lost in America. The hard right, and I'm not going to name these organizations, that there are 5 or 6, some in London and some in very wealthy, backed by billionaires, oil companies, tobacco, blah, blah, blah. How do we take these rights away again? It's all about racism, about white women having white babies, critical race theory, all that rubbish that they don't want black people coming to replace white people who aren't having children, and they want to take back their country, and they have this evangelical thing, and they go and they need to take rights away to put women back in the home and take their voting rights away to punch out babies. That's one aspect of it. And how do you do that? You can't just take women's rights away. They kind of did with Roe v. Wade. So you go back, they lost same-sex marriage, and then there was a think tank in Washington that said, we need to go right back to basics. Let's go to the one group that don't have any rights, and we take their rights. We get LGBT people to attack trans people, and we get women to attack trans people. Trans people were responsible for Stonewall riots, so they are pretty militant and powerful, but they took them out, and they have. So LGBT people will be exposed, and then they'll pick them off, same-sex marriage, same-sex adoption, and once they're gone, women are isolated, they're on their own. The other groups are all silenced and lost their powers, and they're in, and that's it. And divide and conquer and distraction. It's both those things.
Sorry to transplain to you, but you missed a step out. Be black women before white women.
Yeah, well, black goes right across them all. And they've been, that look what they're doing now. They're talking about in America, the policeman that killed George Floyd. They're now lobbying to get him pardoned.
Yeah. But I was talking about that on the show the other day, and someone pointed out that he was found guilty by the state, so
Yeah.
Trump
Oh,
can't actually
okay.
pardon him.
But they still want that. They're still
Yes.
asking
Yeah,
for
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
I mean, that's their Overton window is shifted past the hard right to full Nazi.
yeah.
There was the Bullwick did a survey, um, and they analyzed the people that voted in this last election. Some people voted for authoritarianism in America. They want it. They want it badly because they think a strong man will make their country strong. So, and that's where, and the statistic was quite high. So it's not as that like, oh no, Trump's a fascist, and oh my God, look what he's doing. Some people want what he's doing, and that is really sad.
Yeah.
But trans rights, it's the first step. And it's the same, like, so some of these people that don't want trans people in sports, you look at them, they started off, I don't want you to swim with a trans person. I don't want to play tennis with a trans person, blah, blah, blah. Then it's like, oh, well, I don't want them in the changing room. Oh, I don't want them in a rape clinic. Oh, I don't want them in a hospital ward. I don't want you to exist.
Well,
It always starts. It's that cycle of, then they go on to other things. So look at the people 5 years ago, they're saying, I just don't want them in sport. Even though we've been playing sport for 30 years and won jack shit. They've gone way past let's take away their healthcare, let's get them out of life. It always starts as a gateway hate drug for transphobes, but once they have started, it becomes they're in the echo chamber of other people, and it never just stops with the one just asking questions. It goes all the way through, and now they're asking questions about abortion, and they're asking questions about women's education, and they're asking questions. They are now on to just asking questions about other things.
Yeah.
And I often, post on, when I used to be on LinkedIn, I used to say something horrible is happening to another group, and I always put it started with just asking questions.
Yes.
And it always does.
It always does. You're absolutely right. Just asking questions.
Questions. I have concerns is the other one. And 2016, I know because I transitioned in the 90s. 2015 was the peak, and it was all going well. And then this stuff started in 2015, and it just came out of one think tank in Washington. I think it just thought we've lost all the rights. We need to go back to the weakest group and start on them and bang through the rights. And this trans stuff, and you're seeing it here in the Times, Telegraph, Daily Mail.
Oh God, every day.
The Telegraph is 3 articles a day at the moment, and it's just. And it's one writer generally, but it's just unbelievable because they're just trying to get a foothold in there was in Hollywood in Scotland. They had a debate on trans people today. It was revolting, and I think Duffield had a yesterday on single-sex spaces in the gender critical movement. This is what they're doing. They're just like putting that seed in there and making lots of noise. It is repulsive, and it is, and this movement is weakening women's rights. I just spend every day talking to gender groups and I talk to women every day, gender groups every day, saying this is not about us because we're pretty buggered now. It's it's your rights. I don't think some of these groups realize they are being financed and used by groups that want to take all women's rights.
Yeah.
So
well, you're absolutely right, and you've been saying this for a long time. Like, and it's so clear and so obvious to people who've been.
I know. I feel like a broken record. I cheat. So it's like, please stop throwing mud at me while I'm trying to defend your rights. Oh, you're a man. I know you're a girl, and it's like, yeah, but I'm trying to defend you. Stop throwing stuff at me.
Yeah.
So it is incredibly different. I mean, I think we'll get through it, but at the moment in the world as it is. It's like, look at how vitriolic it's become in America. In Texas, they're trying to make gender identity illegal. It won't. The bill won't pass. The bill won't pass. But it's just scaring trans people by putting that out there to say, look. And there was, and again, at the
illegal to be trans.
Did you see the trans senator?
To exist.
The trans senator yesterday? Did you see the thing?
Yeah. Well, she was misgendered.
Yeah.
And she responded, Madam Chairman.
Madam Chairman. He didn't like that.
He did not like that. But what a I mean, just what a horrible. It's school bullying, isn't it? That's what it is at the end of the day. It's the same sort of thing of like. It's just a lack of respect, and that's what
yeah,
being anti-woke is. It means you don't have
yeah,
respect, you don't
yeah,
have manners, you don't have any decency. You just want to
yeah,
be a school bully. You want to make people feel small and belittled, and you want to
yeah,
make them feel like they don't belong. And like, for what? For
yeah,
what? You don't like gay marriage? Don't marry a man. Simple. Fine. No one's forcing you to do this stuff. And I hate it when people go, "Oh, gay people, they're forcing it down your throat," and I'm like,
mm,
don't know what club you're going to, mate, but can you get me in? Like,
yeah,
what is wrong with these people? I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know. I think there's an
It's just
important
our
part of their soul
existence.
that's missing.
But well, I think the fact is that it's like the hate drug. It it becomes all consuming for them. Our existence offends them, and they don't want us just to live. It's like get out of single sex. Even if they ban us from toilets and single
Yeah.
sex spaces, even if they do that, the fact we get healthcare, get their healthcare out. The fact you're on the street, get them. They won't stop because the cruelty is the point, and they don't. They will not realize the person they've become. And by the time if they ever get us eradicated and we aren't allowed to exist in the UK, they will be very surprised when suddenly the same groups, and there are
Yeah.
some very dark groups, suddenly start taking their voting rights and their bodily autonomy rights away because it's the same groups out there funding.
It's not just that. I mean, it's the Russians who are funding all this hate, and they're making
Yeah,
it so we're fighting amongst ourselves, and we're not
yeah,
noticing the crazy shit that they're pulling around the world right now.
yeah.
Because
Well, there's a
there's
group
only so
that
much bandwidth. There's only so many newspaper headlines you can fit on the front page.
Well, there's a group that I'm not going to name the groups, but there was a guy on Pod Save the UK who wrote a book about how the alt right is linked up, and basically there's a group that was formed after the war that had all the Nazi money,
Mm.
and they have financed lots of.
Hydra,
It's like
Hail
Hydra.
Hydra.
And they finance a lot of the groups, and a lot of the groups in Tufton Street, even though they may not know where that money is coming from some of the indirect groups that this group from the Second World War is funding. So there are groups that are fighting or taking away other people's rights because, whatever it is, but they're being funded by some pretty dark groups.
Yeah.
And he wrote a book about it, and I'm not going to name the groups, but in the book, he was on Pod Save the UK about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And he was on the Byline Times. He wrote this book saying this is how the alt-right, and this is where their money comes from. And it comes from Nazis after the Second World War. That all the money went to this group, and they've been financing little groups all over Europe for the last 50 years.
Yeah. Daylight Dave is saying Russia is right. Facebook is rife with Russian propaganda. Yeah, and it's something that our politicians need to get.
They need to do something.
They need to get onto this because children are going down this pipeline of.
The guys are the incel
young
movement
men,
is powerful.
incel movement.
The women aren't affected as much. There was another article about the why were the women not affected by the purple pill of COVID, but a lot of young guys were. And Tate and the incel movement, and it's fun to be on the right smoking cigars with Andrew Tate and talking about fast cars, because on the left you've got to talk about pronouns and that's really hard, but on the right, yeah, you can. It is that. I mean, there's a lot of that in there, and Rory Stewart said it today on The Rest Is Politics. You see, I've had a lazy day. For the Rest Is Politics this afternoon, he said if Europe does not sort Meta and Twitter out in the next couple of years, we are going to have alt-right parties popping up all over Europe. They need to do something now because Russia has got America. I mean, Russia didn't expect America to tumble so quickly in the way that it has. And in the Kremlin, they're going, what the fuck? Russia's with us. America's with us now. What the shit? What do we do now? And what Rory said, that Russia will now just turn all its warehouses of bot farms straight onto Europe because they don't have to worry about America anymore because they've got Trump there. So they're just going to redeploy everything they've got to break up Europe. And Rory was actually, I mean, I don't agree with Rory and everything, especially his views on trans, but he did say, we don't sort out the social media companies now, Europe's going to be buggered. So
Kitchen Time saves the world from World War III.
Yeah.
Anne says, my bro said, why do they think homosexuality is so amazing that anyone who tries it will instantly be hooked? I thought they didn't like it. Well,
a lot of Republicans love the homosexuality, but they just don't do it publicly.
Oh, it's
got that cabin in the woods.
It's just this thing of like, people are having fun.
Yeah.
And they're not hurting anyone. And what's the problem? I just don't get it. Like, there's so many people in life who do things and mean harm to people, but that's okay. Those fuckers, that's fine. The people putting chemicals in our water and putting pollutants in our air and fucking up things for the next generation. They're all right. People vindictively going after different groups in society. They're all right. But someone just getting on with their life.
I don't want you having fun. I'm a
How
billionaire. I
dare
want
you?
to. How dare you exist and have fun and,
Yeah,
go on holidays and, do the things that you do. I don't want you to have fun. I want you to serve my new dome in the future.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
you can be in the Meta Dome, or you can be in the Twitter Dome, or you can go over there to the Zuckerberg's Fuck Dome, or whatever it is. There will be all the world will be so polluted. We'll all be living in the domes.
But I
I haven't
mean,
seen 2073, but I saw the trailer.
yeah. I kind of feel like in the same way that, the way I'm feeling about Pokemon at the moment is the same way I've sort of felt about Twitter. It's like I just can't anymore. And it's
Yeah,
sad because I spent a lot of time on, putting
yeah,
stuff on Twitter over the years. I tweeted
yeah,
all the time when I was traveling around the world. I actually tweeted from my phone because it used to be a
yeah,
text message thing.
yeah,
And I've lost all that. But then, I've lost all my MySpace stuff. I
yeah.
remember back in the day, I was on the Richard Dawkins. This is before he turned into a massive transphobe. Don't at me. I
Mm,
was on the Richard Dawkins website, and there was a forum on there, and it was fucking great. And people used to spend, like it was basically
yeah,
Discord.
yeah,
It didn't have video or anything. Just people type messages, and we had
yeah,
all these different threads to talk about things. And it was when the God Delusion came out, so everyone talked about
yeah.
religion and bringing,
Mm,
say, hey, have you seen this video? Have you seen this guy
mm.
talking about? And it was really, really good. And then one day, someone took it over and they wiped all of the forum. And we turned up, logged on, and went, we have all our messages. And we've been on there for like a couple of years. And it's all
Yeah.
gone. And I think since then, I've always had a little bit of an attitude of anything
Mm,
digital. If
yeah.
it isn't an actual physical book that I can hold and go, yes, here's a
Yeah.
book. This features
Yeah.
me, by the way, Grand Adventures by Alistair Humphreys. I'm in this quite a lot, being interviewed about my travels around the world. Oh, I wonder if there's any pictures of me in here. Oh, no, it's all kind of stock footage. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. If it's not physical, you'll
Mm,
never own it.
yeah.
And I saw, was it Apple who have changed the rules about the things you download, like you don't really own them anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's always been like that with music, but I think it's that way with movies now as well. Like you
Yeah, they can do
can't.
that. I bought movies on Amazon, and
Oh,
but when you do that, if they decide that they're not going to have it on Amazon anymore, it comes out of your library, even though you
even
paid
if
10.
you've bought it.
Yeah.
Wow. No, I'm sorry. I was thinking the wrong thing. I was thinking Amazon. So Amazon have made it now. So if you buy an ebook, you used to be
Yeah.
able to put
Oh
it on
yeah.
a different e-reader. Like you didn't
Yeah.
have to read it on your Kindle. Now
Yeah.
you have to read it on your Kindle, and there's no way of copying it and putting it onto. Well, there is, to get around it. But
Yeah.
I just think if
Mm,
you own a book, a real book, you can sell it to someone else. You own that book, but with
yeah.
digital, it can all be taken away, and
Yeah.
we've talked about this, about the idea of having a film where, and someone's probably already done this, and I think we've already talked about the fact that someone's already done it, but have a film in which there's a massive solar flare, creates an electronic pulse across the planet, and just wipes
Yeah.
out all our electronics. That's
Yeah.
it. Anything that's digital is gone. The only thing we've got are physical things. So
Yeah.
everyone's car stops working. Because at the
Yeah.
moment, your car is basically 99% social media,
That's the
if you
last
buy a
scene.
Tesla or whatever.
It's the last scene in When the World Stood Still. The world stopped. Whatever it was, with the Keanu Reeves film, When the World Stood Still.
The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Yeah, but yeah, that's it.
That was a remake of the 1950s movie where
Yeah,
a
I like
bloke
the
turned up with a
1950s.
robot.
Yeah, that's right. Well, put your fingers in your ears. Plot end.
I'm going
He
to get this
said,
wrong, but it was Klaatu Baru Niktu, I think, the word you had to say.
"How do you know that?" But
Because there's 3 aliens in Jabba's palace, which used to be owned by the Bomar monks, by the way, before he moved in, and the 3 characters were called the Niktu, and they when the Kenner toys came out, that was the name given to them, because Kenner just used to make up names for the characters because they didn't know.
But the end of the remake, stick your fingers in your ears, people, if you don't want to hear the end. But because obviously he's turned up to judge the Earth on its nuclear war and its pollution and everything, and
Yeah.
he's rocked up. And then he sort of says, and they beg and they plead, and he falls in love with the girl a bit. So he goes, "Well, there is one solution we can do, but you're not going to like it." And they went, "We'll have it, we'll have it, have it." And he goes, "Doosh," and basically nothing, no electrical product on the Earth works. Cars, nuclear missiles,
Right, yeah.
the whole. So they're all just back to the
So
dark
I want to
ages.
see the sequel to that. I want to see the sequel of how humans adapt. And
Yeah,
what I thought would be really interesting is to have a story where there's someone traveling through Europe, and there's at the same time there's someone traveling through Africa to try and meet up with each other.
Yeah.
And like the difference in how people in Africa just take it in their stride because they're
Yeah.
not as dependent, whereas people in Europe go fucking bonkers because they just can't. Maybe you could do it in America, like people in South America living in the jungle areas of the Amazonas.
Yeah.
Walking up towards America while America's just fucking killing each other because they're like, I've lost my MySpace account.
Kill the trans people.
Kill all the trans people. But
it's old cars we might do all right. There aren't any silicon chips in old cars. Very old cars.
Yeah. Alvone says, yes, you need physical things to enjoy. Anything online can be taken away. Even video games you can bought can just be deactivated.
Yep.
And if we go towards the future that these fascists, that these Trump voters want, we will have that social scores. You know, like that episode of Black Mirror that they actually have in what's it called? China, where you have to review everyone and give them a good score. If you haven't got a certain score, you can't get a mortgage, you can't get on that particular flight, and you can't do this.
That was sad. The ending of that was when she was going to fly, and then she had to hire a car, and then she ended up.
Yeah, but the ending was when she was in jail with that guy, and they start having a fight, and they tell each other to fuck off. That's brilliant. I love the end of it because they were free. They were in jail. They were in jail, but they were free, Rachel. And I love the irony of it because they could actually say what they want to say, and like they're saying it with a smile on their face. They're like, "Fuck you, no, fuck you," and like, yes,
yeah.
Actually...
And Ben Elton wrote a book in the future, and sort of the world is kind of, a lot of climate change and stuff, but everybody lives in flats and everybody's monitoring everybody else through social media. Even every house has a warden, and they're monitoring everybody, what they're doing, and it's a real surveillance world under climate change. And he writes, I mean, about whatever you like him, he writes these books that really Stark in 1995 predicted what's happening now.
People going into space. But then again, that was predicted by Ian Fleming in the 50s in Moonraker. So
I watched Moonraker last night.
Did you?
Yeah, it's really fun if you imagine Drax as Elon Musk all the way through the film.
He really is. But Jaws falls in love and goes good at the end, which is really nice.
He's looking at you, kid.
Alvone is asking why Nintendo couldn't take over Pokemon Go. Nintendo don't own Pokemon. It's the Pokemon company. It's always been the Pokemon company. And Pokemon Go was a little bit of an outlier because it was made by Niantic. But it was based on another game that they had because it's got all the maps in it. It's got all the locations. So over the last 8 years, we've all been taking photos of local landmarks and things and uploading them to make them into Pokestops and Pokemon gyms. And Saudi's going to have all that information now. All that data is going to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
My island, the stuff about my island is going to go to Saudi Arabia. Because I've got a Pokestop on my island. And I'm really not happy about that. But how do I get rid of it? How do I get rid of that Pokestop and say, you can't have the information about this anymore?
No. Well, all your NHS data is going to Peter Thiel. So
yeah. Clactu Barada Niktu. Look that up, mate. Sure, I was right. Go me. I think I was pretty close. That's close. Has anyone seen the 1984 film Threads? So asked Sarah. Yes. So we're trying to cheer ourselves up here.
Yeah. Yeah.
That and When the Wind Blows fucked me up so much as a child.
Yeah, When the Wind Blows. Damnation Alley.
I didn't see that one.
Oh, Damnation Alley is another, and By Dawn's Early Light, another nuclear war film. There's loads of. I grew up with all these films. My dad worked in defense in the Cold War, and I worked in defense. And
Mad Max. Well, Mad Max 1 is like the world's just falling apart. Yeah. Mad Max 2, the oil's run out. So it's all about oil. Mad Max 3 is post nuclear Holocaust.
Isn't it funny? I just think it's funny that Mad Max. The premise of 2 and 3 Mad Max and Waterworld is everybody's running around looking for petrol. It's like, start running around looking for petrol. You won't need petrol. But
exactly. Now I need a big truck. Waterworld was fucking awful though. Was that 95? Was it? It was one of the biggest flops of all time. Wasn't it?
It cost 200 million. It was one of the first films to cost 200 million and stuff.
Wow. Dennis Hopper, Kevin Costner with gills for some reason.
Yeah. The bit that I always remember of that film, it's just really spooky. It's like, because I'm, a Cold War person again, is the bit he swims down. He's getting all this stuff from all the cities under the water, right? And he swims down and you see all what's probably New York. And then he goes down, he's swimming down the street to pick up junk. And you see a huge nuclear submarine just sort of leaning up against the building, like really below. And I go, oh, I wonder if you could get in there and use that. It's like, it's like, I wonder if you could get the hatch open. I wonder if you could get the reactor up. It was like, no. It's meant to be set in the future, but it's like, I just thought that image of the nuclear submarine sitting there, just leaning up against the building. I'm like, oh, I wonder where that goes.
Like I always remember the opening scene. He pisses into a jar
and then
pours
drinks it
into a contraption that filters it, and then he drinks it.
And then drinks it.
Yeah, drink the fucking salt water. He's completely surrounded. He's got a filter thing for like filtering the salt out your piss. I'm like, do the seawater. It's a little less dilute with the. Yeah. Anyway, it was a mad film. It was very much
Mad Max at sea. That's what we all used to call it.
Yeah, but Mad Max was a singular vision of George Miller, wasn't it? Whereas this is just like Babe and Happy Feet were singular visions of George Miller. I love that. I love that CV. Mad Max 2, Mad Max 3, Babe 2, Pig in the City, Happy Feet 2, Mad Max. It's just like, what the fuck, George? Okay, whatever, mate.
No wonder the world the way it is the way it is.
Yeah. Simon Smith is saying The Day After from 1983. Yeah, that was a TV movie in America, and that was the movie that Ronald Reagan saw, and it changed his view about nuclear weapons and what could happen. It woke him up to the fact that it would be better if we weren't having a Cold War with another nuclear.
I mean, there were so many nuclear war films back then.
Yeah.
I mean, was it When the Wind Blows, the one about the old couple?
Yes.
That cartoon novel is really upsetting when you read it. Even now. But it that does make people stop and think for a moment, because it was like, oh, let's get nuclear weapons. Oh, we must have nuclear. But at the time, as a teen, I mean, I know kids today are worrying about climate change, and they didn't have to worry about nuclear war, but they're going to have to now by the sound of it. But it was back in the 1982, 99 red balloons. I hope the Russians love their children too. Elton John.
Remember doing the neutron dance? I'm just burning up doing the neutron dance. Terminator was the machines were coming back after
they were, but it was as a teenager, 14, 15, I kind of did think, oh shit, it's just and my dad worked in defense as well, so it was like, oh, this is all getting a bit, you were always worried at the back of your mind as a teenager, as a miserable teenager.
As a kid, I remember trying to dig a nuclear bunker in the back garden with my brother one afternoon, and I just remember I was digging away. And then I said, is this gonna like save us? He said, yeah. If a nuclear bomb goes off in Liverpool city centre and it's a 1 megaton bomb, then if we're down there, the radiation will go over us and we won't get hit by the initial blast of radiation. And I said, okay. So what's the average megaton for a bomb these days? It's like 50. And I went, okay. I put my shovel down and went in for some jam sandwiches. Anyway, right, we better wrap it up there because we've actually gone 14 minutes over time, Rachel. Look at that.
See, we have gone down the rabbit hole. We've covered a lot of stuff.
Exactly, down the rabbit hole. I like that name. Do you like that name? It's good, isn't it?
Well, it's growing on me, yeah.
Yeah, it's growing on you, just about. I was going to call it Fresh Hell. Because it's like, what fresh hell is this?
I was Rachel and Graham talk bollocks. That's what I was.
Yeah, no, we're rabbiting.
I get it, but I just thought it's like you're talking out your asshole. It's like,
well, that's a little nod and wink for the the intro sequence, which I'm sure some people got the joke there.
Yeah.
But anyway, right. Thank you so much, Rachel. It's really kind of you. Thanks everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed this new show, new format. So we're going to try and do this every Wednesday at 6 o'clock.
Yeah. It's just, there's no format. It's just talking bollocks.
It's just talking bollocks. Yeah. As my bollocks once said to me, I went, "Ooh, you're talking bollocks." Anyway, thanks very much for watching. I'm back in the morning at 9 o'clock with Morning Brew. And until then, thanks for watching. Oh, give us a like. Give us a like on the way. I always forget to say this. Give us a like. And we'll make more of them. And until next time, hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.